You are alive right now because of an unbroken chain of children who did not die. Every single one of your ancestors, going back tens of thousands of years, survived infancy.
Survived childhood. Made it long enough to have you. That should not have been easy. Human babies are, honestly, kind of a design flaw. They can't walk, can't talk, can't feed themselves, can't even hold their own heads up for months. Compare that to a baby zebra, up and running within an hour of being born. So here's the obvious question nobody really asks. How did a species with this helpless a baby ever manage to keep enough of them alive to survive? Let's start with just how fragile things really were.
Chapter 1. Anthropologists who study hunter-gatherer populations have found something sobering. In many of these groups, something like 40 to 50% of children didn't make it to adulthood. Not from war, not from anything dramatic, mostly from disease, infection, and simple accidents. A fever that would be nothing today could be fatal with no medicine. A fall, a burn, a bad piece of food, any of it could be the end. And human infants make this worse because of something researchers call secondary ultrachiality. Basically, human babies are born earlier developmentally than they should be. If a human pregnancy matched an ape our size, gestation would need to last almost 21 months. Instead, we're born around 9. Why? Because of your head. Human brains are enormous compared to body size, and the birth canal can only stretch so far. So evolution found a workaround. Get the baby out before the head gets too big to fit, and finish the cooking after birth instead of before. The trade-off is a baby that is
dangerously helpless for the first year of life, which means someone has to carry that helplessness for them. Chapter 2. Here's the ancient solution, and it's probably not what you'd guess. It wasn't one devoted parent doing it alone. Anthropologist Sarah Blaffer Hardy spent decades studying this, and her conclusion reframed how we think about human parenting entirely. She argued humans are what's called cooperative breeders, meaning child-rearing was never a two-person job. It was distributed across the whole group. Mothers breastfed on demand, often for 3 to 4 years, far longer than most modern nursing periods. But mothers were rarely doing this alone. Fathers helped, older siblings helped, and crucially, grandmothers helped a lot. There's an actual name for this in anthropology, the grandmother hypothesis. Researcher Kristen Hawkes studied the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer group in Tanzania, and found something striking. Grandmothers who were done having their own children didn't just retire from usefulness. They shifted their energy into gathering food for their grandchildren, which freed up the mother to have another child sooner, which meant more children survived overall. A grandmother in this system wasn't a bonus. She was practically a second parent, embedded into the math of survival itself.
Chapter 3. Here's the twist that really reframes it. It wasn't just close family either. Hardy's research on groups like the Efe in the forests of the Congo found something almost hard to believe by modern standards. In the first few months of a baby's life, that infant might be held physically in someone's arms by more than a dozen different people. Not 2, not 4, sometimes more than 14 different caregivers in the first weeks alone. Aunts, uncles, older children, unrelated adults in the same camp. Anyone in arm's reach might scoop up a crying baby and soothe it. This constant web of alloparents, a term for caregivers who aren't the biological mother, meant no single adult was ever fully, permanently responsible. If a mother was sick, injured, or simply exhausted, the baby didn't go unfed.
Someone else stepped in, almost automatically. Think about that for a second. Your ancestors' survival wasn't just about one mother's devotion. It was about a whole group treating every child a shared responsibility. If even one link in that chain of caregivers had failed, one grandmother who didn't help,
one group that didn't share food, you might not be here at all. Chapter 4. So how does that compare to now? Modern life has done something remarkable for child survival. Global child mortality has dropped enormously compared to those ancient numbers, thanks to vaccines, clean water, and modern medicine. That part is real progress, and it's worth being honest about. But something else changed too. Modern parents raise children inside a much smaller unit, often just 2 parents, sometimes 1, frequently far from extended family. The 14-caregiver village that ancient babies were born into has largely shrunk down to a nuclear household. Researchers who study parental burnout point to exactly this shift. Not that modern parents love their kids less, but that they're often doing alone what used to be spread across a dozen people. It's not a verdict on modern life. Medicine alone makes it a genuinely better time to be a child than almost any point in human history. But it does explain something a lot of tired parents already feel in their bones. Parenting was never actually designed to be a 2-person job.
For most of human history, it wasn't. So back to that chain of survivors we started with. Every ancestor you have made it through infancy, not by luck alone, and not by one parent's effort alone. They made it because a whole group of people decided, over and over, that a helpless baby was worth carrying. If you want to go deeper into how ancient humans actually lived day to day, the sources for this video are linked below.